What's up everyone? In today's video, we're gonna be talking about how to address this portion here, these softer, kind of plasticky painted pieces on your vehicle, typically known always on the car as the B pillar. You got the A pillar, B pillar, and C pillar. This part here, guys, is extremely soft. It scratches very, very easily. And I've gotten tons of questions on how to fix it because a lot of people will hit it with polish and it almost comes out looking worse, really kind of faded and dull looking. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into this and show you guys my process on how to address these. So as you guys can see right now, it looks okay, right? Not terrible. Obviously, there's a lot of reflection going on. You can see some scratches and stuff in there, but let me go ahead and throw just a standard flashlight on this area so you guys can really see, because this is really gonna highlight all the damage. Oh my goodness, right? Horrible, 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 horrible. Now, these things you have to be careful because although they are a painted and clear-coated item, typically at least, I have seen, because they're so soft, I have seen tons of issues of you kind of get like almost a little bit of a halo effect up here, and that is just that clear coat getting worn down, right? Because as you go to polish these, if you go too aggressive, you're going through that clear coat faster because it is softer. A softer finish. So let's go ahead and jump in on how to fix this. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what we need to address this issue. I always use a dual action polisher. Yeah, you can use a rotary, you just wanna be careful. Keep the speed very, very low. Keep your pressure very, very soft. Same situation with the dual action polisher in today's video. I'm going to be using the Milwaukee 15 millimeter thorough polisher. It's battery powered. I like it because it's battery powered, but my standard corded polisher that I typically like to use is the MacShine M15 Pro. A lot cheaper than this thing, so if you guys don't have one, check that thing out. Next up, we need a polishing pad. So this is where one of the biggest issues comes in, and somebody will use because it's so scratched, and they're thinking, if my paint's that scratched, I need to use a compound. I need to use a harder compounding pad. And that's just not the case with these because this is so soft. So we're gonna use a yellow Rupes DA fine polishing pad along with some polish. Again, you don't need to go to a heavy compounding compound. You can just use a polish. And for today's video, we're gonna be using the Shine Max polish from MacShine. I haven't used this a ton, but from what I've used, I like it. I think I had it here, and it should work really, really well on this little area. Now, additionally, from there, typically when we polish those areas with that, it can still leave a lot of hazing behind. That's a lot of the time when people comment and say, hey, did I ruin this thing? It's just because they're leaving so much hazing behind from using too aggressive pads and chemicals. You always want to start with the least invasive procedure first, check your results, and then go on to a more aggressive step if you need to, and then work your way backwards. In today's video, I'm starting straight to the polish and polishing pad. Maybe it doesn't need that, but I do want to show you guys the effect of the hazing from it, all right? We're gonna remove all these scratches, but there may be hazing left behind. So in order to address that, after all of that, we have a fine polishing pad. This one, again, is from MacShine. I like this one because it is rather thick and super, super spongy. I also like the Rupes white finishing pads, but in my experience on these, I just want to go extremely soft. And this MacShine one does the trick. And the polish or wax sealant protectant that I like to use for this is this stuff here, guys. The Wizards Slick Nano Wax, or Mystic Nano Wax Slick Wax. Now in the past, sometimes in order to get the final hazing out, I'll even go to something as little as water. There's a little bit of abrasion there, but it pulls everything out and leaves a nice finish. This stuff is so liquid, right? Let me show you, like crazy liquid, that you kind of get that same effect, except this has some glazing properties to it, which typically will kind of fill in some imperfections a little bit, along with just removing them. And then also that stuff's gonna leave behind protection for this area. So that's why I like to use it. Now, the last thing that we're gonna need is a high quality microfiber towel. You don't wanna kind of pinch your pennies on this part, especially for this, because you're gonna do all the work to remove all that damage that's there. The last thing you wanna do is reintroduce new scratches or anything because you're using a subpar microfiber towel. This is the Creature Edgeless from the Rag Company. I absolutely love these. They're an edgeless microfiber towel, so you don't have to worry about anything scratching there. Dual density or dual pile, so you have a longer pile and a shorter pile on the other side. And they are a really high quality GSM and blend. So no worry about scratching there. I love these things for this for sure. It's typically the towel that I use a lot on compounding and things like that as well. So let's go ahead and touch on this though. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna switch over to my polishing pad. So again, the yellow Rupes polishing pad. Center it up on your polisher. Nice and simple. You know, that's standard procedure stuff, guys. Just wanna make sure it's centered well. I'm gonna add 4 drops of polish, and I'm gonna spread them out so that when I tap this onto this panel, whoops, it stays here, 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 and here. It doesn't get onto the line, just so I can spread it around easier and I'm not getting a bunch of buildup in the areas where I don't want it. So here we go, 4 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically just pea-sized drops, guys. You don't need to go crazy here. Again, even though we're gonna tap this on here, so there you go. You can see it's staying off the areas that I don't want it. Okay, now on the lowest speed here, guys, I'm going to work this in really quickly, just spread it around. Now, this brings me to another point. This one has the same material here on the window trim, essentially. I'm not gonna tape it off. I'm very, very used to this. I'm just gonna watch the edge. You don't wanna hit the edge though with the side of your pad because you could cause micro marring down here. So just be careful. If you have any concern, just throw some scotch tape, not scotch tape, some painter's tape type of thing down on this, especially if you have that's just a rubberized piece. You wanna hit that because otherwise you hit this, if you hit the rubberized piece with your pad, it could kind of make it shiny. You don't want to do that. You wanna keep everything, you know, factory perfect. So that's what we're doing here. But again, tape it off if you want to. For me, I'm just used to it. I'm just gonna go ahead and go with this. So now that we got the product spread out, again, we're keeping it at the lowest speed. Not much pressure, and just work the area. So again, spreading it around. Now I'm gonna lock it in, my trigger, so I can just hold it nicely, and I'm gonna work it slowly, low and slow, no pressure. Just simple, letting the the polish and the pad do all the work, right? If you just move it slow, it'll be able to do what it needs to do. You don't need to overwork the area, guys. I'm just leaving this in, you know, normal speed so you guys can see how much I'm actually working it. Now I am just kind of angling it a little bit to get into the tighter spots here a little bit. Okay. Now let's go ahead and inspect this, right? I'm gonna go over it lightly really quick. Boom. All right, let's go ahead and inspect it now. See how much damage we were able to actually remove. I'm gonna take my microfiber towel. All right, and just simply remove the product, and then we'll re-inspect. So good to go there. Now there's some deeper stuff in this B pillar that I'm not expecting to have come out, and we'll talk about that here shortly. All right, guys, so here is the result after that first pass. As you can see, I mean, significant improvement, right? You don't see all that crazy stuff. Let's go ahead and put the light on it now though, because there should still be some definite hazing from that polish. And as you can see, you see all that hazing? What I mean by that is it's just kind of like a hazy day, right? You don't have the clarity that you would normally have. And that's because I'm putting in a bunch of little micro marring from that polish, right? It's still too aggressive for how soft this is. Now, yes, it is removing a lot of the damage, which is what we wanted. So we're gonna keep moving forward. That's where I wanted it. And I also wanted to show you guys this so you can actually get an idea. No, you did not ruin this piece, even though it's lighter and kind of hazy looking. I'm gonna show you how to fix that now. Okay, so now at this point, I'm gonna switch pads, right? We don't need this polishing pad anymore. We're gonna switch over to that really, really soft, really, really spongy finishing pad here. Again, this is the one from MaxShine. I'll link this stuff down in the description for you guys so that you can get it as needed. And with MaxShine, I have a discount code you can use. It's just IMJOSHV 15. So it works 15% off site-wide, except for like the higher discounted items already. It won't apply to that. But you can get the stuff there. Also, so you could potentially use polish on this again with this pad and get to work on it, and it may come out perfect. Again, for me, I love, love, love this stuff for these specific areas. I haven't used this a ton on paint, but because it's so runny, I thought, and then also offers protection, I thought to myself, this might be perfect for this. Other times in the past, I've always used water to remove that very, very fine haze. Spray it on a nice finishing pad, hit it real quick, it removes all that, you buff it out and it looks good to go. But this is even better in my experience because it has some glazing capabilities to fill in some imperfections. Also polishes out the rest of it, and it's so thin, it leaves a perfect finish with protection behind. So what we're gonna do, same thing here, guys, same exact process. 4 drops onto the pad, spread it out the same way, and work it in. Whoa, it's so runny. You gotta just be careful you don't put too much on. All right, there we go. That'll work. So you can see 4 spots. Again, I'm just gonna line this up so that I know where to tap it on, so that it's not spreading around all over where I don't want it to. Same thing, guys, very low speed and just working the product in. This has a progressive trigger, meaning I can just barely pull it. It'll just kind of fire around a little bit just to spread it around. Okay, now I'm just gonna go ahead and trigger lock it. Okay, and just work it in. Again, you don't want, especially with this portion of the procedure, you do not want to overwork the area, because if you overwork it and that liquid starts to dry up, then you're going to start introducing more hazing. So you want to work the area, make sure it looks good, and then we should be good to go. Again, guys, no pressure here. We're not adding any pressure, just letting the pad and the polish do its thing. All right, we pretty much should be good to go. Now, as I'm running this slowly, I will even lighten up my pressure even more, like barely have it touching, and just go over it quickly. Just in my mind, it kind of blends everything out. I don't know if it does, but it's just what I like to do. All right, there we go. We're gonna take the same microfiber towel. I'm just gonna flip it over because we didn't use much. We don't want to recontaminate it with the polish that we already used. So flipping it over will make, is always a good idea. Alrighty, guys, so here is the final result. Again, this is after the Mystic Nano Wax Slick Wax from Wizards. Again, the reason I like this for this type of thing is because it is so liquid and it does a fantastic job, leaves protection behind, and has a little bit of filling capability, so it just looks phenomenal. Real world conditions, guys, that's gonna be in your more real world condition. And it looks absolutely perfect, right? Can't complain about that. It looks incredible. But we are gonna throw the light on it as well here in a second so you guys can see the before and after. So let's go ahead and grab the flashlight. Again, keep this with a grain of salt. This is the most harsh conditions that you could imagine. And there it is, guys. It looks freaking phenomenal, right? It looks super, super good. 90% of that hazing is gone. And it just looks really, really good. There's definitely still some hazing, right? Let's see, let me zoom in. See if I can focus on that for you. There's still a tiny bit of hazing, but honestly, those could be just from wiping it. These things are so soft that you do have to address those issues. Now, obviously, we could keep going, guys, and try and get that absolutely perfect finish. And on a show car or something like that, or when I'm doing a full-blown expensive correction, I will. But I will, man, I will. But at the same time, on things like this where I know it's so soft and you can be compromising that clear coat, you have to work within your boundaries and realize your diminishing returns. I can't say that enough. You don't want 6 months down the road to have to polish this again, and then you're gonna start getting some haloing because that clear coat's getting so thin on it, right? It's just one of those things. This is a daily driven vehicle. It gets washed. No matter what your wash process is, things that are this soft are gonna have issues over time. You're gonna have to polish it again. So just keep that in mind, guys, and know that this is how you can get these things looking perfect. If you start getting too much haze, right? Like I said, a lot of times people are working on paint, and especially with how severely scratched this was before we started, if you were working on paint, you'd wanna go, man, I need to compound this thing, right? With an aggressive pad. If you do that and you're working the paint looks perfect, and then you come over here and you do that here, this is gonna look absolutely terrible because you're gonna be introducing so much hazing because that pad and chemical combo is way too aggressive. So start with your least aggressive method first, work your way backwards. If that one didn't work, go a little more aggressive. If that's still not there, go a little more aggressive, and then work your way back to the perfect finish. That's it for today's video, guys. I hope that helps you. Again, all the things that I used will be linked down in the video description so you guys can get them if you need them. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Turn on that notification bell, and we will see you on the next one.